Okay, let's talk about generative AI. You hear that term everywhere right now, but what does it actually mean? Well, that's what we're going to do. In the next few minutes, we'll break down what it is, how it works, and, most importantly, why it's such a huge deal. Ready? Let's dive in. So, you've probably seen those amazing, sometimes kind of weird AI images popping up all over your social media feeds, right? I mean, they look so real, but you know they're not. Or maybe you've heard about someone whipping up a perfectly worded email in like 10 seconds. And you just have to ask yourself, how on earth is that even possible? Well, the answer, the magic behind all of that, it's something called generative AI. Think of it as the engine that's powering this whole creative explosion that feels like it just came out of nowhere. Okay, so what is generative AI, really? Let's get right to the simple definition. All right, here's the absolute core of it. Generative AI is a type of AI that doesn't just look at stuff that already exists, it creates brand new things. And I mean all sorts of things: text, images, music, even computer code. Literally, you name it. That's the one word to remember: creates. And this is a really important distinction from other types of AI you might have heard about. So think of it like this. Traditional AI is like a detective. It looks at the evidence, the data, and classifies it. It'll tell you, yep, that's a cat. But generative AI, it's more like an artist. You can go to it and say, hey, draw me a cat riding a skateboard in space, and it will actually create that brand new image right from scratch. Here's another way to think about it that I really like. It's basically a super-powered autocomplete. You know how your phone tries to guess the next word you're going to type? Well, imagine if instead of just the next word, it could suggest the next paragraph, or the next chapter of a book, or even paint an entire picture for you. That is the massive leap we are talking about here. Okay, so we know what it does. It creates stuff. But the big question is how? I mean, how does a computer actually come up with something new and original? The concept behind it is actually surprisingly simple. Let's try another analogy. I want you to picture a really, really attentive student. And this isn't the kind of student who just crams and memorizes facts for a test. No, this student is trying to truly understand the deep patterns and the hidden rules behind everything they study. And when I say they study, I mean they study on a scale that's hard to even imagine. It's like this student has read millions of books to learn how language flows, looked at millions of images to understand art styles, and listened to millions of songs to get a feel for melody and harmony. The key thing here is, it's not just copying any of this, it's learning the fundamental patterns. And that is the key. So when you ask it to do something, it's not digging through a giant database to find a pre-made answer. Nope. It's using all that pattern recognition, everything it learned, to generate a totally new response, one piece at a time, word by word, or pixel by pixel. Yeah, it really is a step-by-step thing. The AI just makes a prediction for the most likely next little bit, the next word, or the next pixel in an image, or the next note in a song. It adds that piece, and then it just does it again, and again, and again, until the whole creation is complete. It's building it one block at a time. All right, I get it. This might still sound a little bit out there, a bit abstract, so let's bring it back down to earth. Let's talk about where this stuff is already showing up in your world, probably in tools you've seen or even used. Yeah, do any of these names ring a bell? When you hear people talking about ChatGPT or Claude, that's text-based generative AI. When you see those jaw-dropping images from Midjourney or DALL-E, well, that's the same tech but for pictures. It's even writing music now, with tools like Suno and helping coders write software with things like GitHub Copilot. It is pretty much everywhere. And look, this isn't just for making cool art or writing fun poems. Businesses are going all in on this. They're using it to do things like summarize a 100-page report in 30 seconds, or to brainstorm new product designs. It's even being used in serious scientific research, helping scientists discover new medicines by imagining new molecules. The impact here is just massive. So, okay, clearly this is a really powerful technology, but so what? Why should you care? What does it actually mean for you? Let's zoom out for a second and look at the big picture. Well, for one thing, it's about speed. Just pure mind-bending speed and efficiency. Think about tasks that used to take a professional hours, maybe even days to do, like writing the first draft of a plan or mocking up an image for a project. Now, that can happen in seconds. For some jobs, we are talking about a time saving of like 90%. That's a game changer.
And what that speed does is pretty amazing. It's kind of like a democratization of creative skills. What does that mean? It means you don't have to be a professional graphic designer anymore to create a beautiful image. You don't have to be an expert writer to draft a compelling email. These incredibly powerful tools are basically in everyone's hands now. All you need is an idea.
But of course, with any huge leap like this, it brings up some really big, complicated questions, doesn't it? I mean, think about it. If an AI creates a beautiful piece of art, who's the artist? Who actually owns it? And what about trust, right? If AI can write so convincingly, how do we know if we're reading something written by a person or a machine? And maybe more importantly, how do we know if what it's telling us is even true? And that brings us to a really, really important point you have to remember. These AI tools can sometimes, well, they can make things up. The techie term for it is hallucinate, which basically just means it confidently states something that's totally false. It's not lying on purpose, it's just trying to create a pattern that sounds right. And that's exactly why our own critical thinking has become more important than ever. Okay, we've gone through a lot here and pretty fast. So if you walk away with just one single takeaway from all of this, I want it to be this. Generative AI is not a search engine. It's not about finding old information. It is a creation engine. It makes brand new things based on learning the patterns in huge amounts of data. And that single ability, the power to create, that is what makes it the engine driving this whole AI revolution. So what we have here is this incredibly powerful new tool for creativity, and it's in the hands of more people than ever before. So the question I'll leave you with is a simple one. Now that you know what this is, what are you going to create with it?